Hi, I'm Richie.
Hey, I'm Jeremy.
And this is Week in Review with Richie and...
Jeremy.
And Jeremy, what episode is this?
This is episode 14.
14.
Yep.
Jeez.
We've been doing this for a little bit now.
Last week was great. We had our friend on here.
Yeah, Colin.
We haven't come up with a nickname yet. Our very own Larry Bud Melman, Colin Hedges.
He was talking about apples to apples and difference of prices and gas and oil. I think that's a really cool thing.
It is. And oh, man.
You're
supposed to be wearing T-shirts for me to make fun of.
I had to dress up today because we have a guest.
We do have a guest, I guess. I guess I should have dressed up today.
You should have.
Sorry. And just wear sweatshirts and
Anyway,
Yankee hats.
Would you like to introduce?
I would love to introduce. Tonight we are joined by the Ohio's 3rd Senate District Representative, or I guess I'm saying that right or wrong. I'm not sure. I apologize if I'm not. Michele Reynolds,
Maybe I should have done the intro.
Who became in office who was in office or elected to office starting in 2023 and is now up for re-election. Please welcome Michele Reynolds.
Thank you, Richie. Yes, I'm Michele Reynolds, State Senator, serving Ohio Senate District 3. Happy to be here with you all tonight.
Sorry, I kind of jumbled up that intro there.
So, Senator, first thing I want to appreciate you, and the reason why I want to appreciate you is I know that you're running for re-election now, and I appreciate you coming on, but, I have seen you here in Pickaway County a ton of times, and I appreciate that. Sometimes people take office, and then you just don't see them until the re-election. And I appreciate you coming. I saw you at Pumpkin Show.
Oh, yeah,
I've seen you at different events here. And I appreciate you having the interest that you've had here.
Well, thank you. It means a lot to me to be elected, to even serve. It's been the joy of my life to be a state senator. And I absolutely love small towns. I grew up in a small town. I'm a small town girl. So I believe I have a call to the small, but I have a big vision, big heart. And I absolutely love Circleville.
Yeah.
You grew up in Illinois, right?
No, actually, I was born in Illinois, but I grew up in Jefferson County, which is right outside of Steubenville, Ohio. So very rural Appalachian County, and I'm an Ohio girl.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And you just, if I'm not mistaken, you just graduated from law school?
I did. I just graduated from the University of Dayton Law School. And that was this past Saturday, so I just earned my Juris Doctor, about to take the bar exam in July.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you pack all that in a day?
Oh, my gosh. One day at a time. I did it part-time for the past 4 years. Actually, I ran for Senate when I was in my first year of law school. So my law journey is just as old as my Senate journey.
Oh, wow.
And now I'm back on the ballot for re-election.
Right. And I wanted to jump right into something before I jumped into some of the other things that you had. Yesterday, you spoke about Haley's Law, and I think this is a really important bill that you have introduced. Can you kind of break it down and talk about it?
What is Haley's Law?
So, yeah, that's a very important bill that I just sponsored alongside Senator Rogner. And Haley's Law, Senate Bill 379, is a bill that actually helps parents keep our kids safe online. And I think this is a very, very important bill because in today's day and age, our kids have so much access to the internet, to gaming platforms, to AI. And when I was growing up, you could actually see your children's friends. But now they live a digital life outside of us,
right,
and you don't necessarily get to see their friends. A lot of times they're in these chat rooms. They understand technology better than we do. We have no idea. Maybe you all do, but I don't necessarily know. So this allows parents the tools through parental consent before a child under the age of 18 downloads a game or social media app. They have to give parental consent at least one time at the App Store. And then anytime the developer changes something fundamental with the game or the app, it needs to notify the parents so the parents can say, okay, this is age appropriate for my child. And this was inspired because Haley Busby was a young girl who actually was killed by a predator while she, met this guy online. She's from Indiana, but this was all over the news. This guy hooked up with her in a chat room, and it was an Ohio man, and he brought her here and killed her. Yeah. And I've met her dad, and he's just heartbroken. I mean,
Sure.
Who wouldn't be? This is a parent's nightmare. But he was a very responsible dad. Like he said, at 10 o'clock at night, he would get the cell phone of his kids and it would have to go downstairs. So it wasn't like, this parent gave their kid carte blanche with cell phones, but there are like apps today that even disappear after, you send a message, then it disappears, right? Snapchat. And there's just a lot going on. So this is allowing parents the access to have this parental consent, but it's also holding our developers accountable that, hey, if you have things out there that are not necessarily good for our kids, you have to at least be accountable to the parents. And it just allows us to keep our kids safe online.
Mm-hmm. And one of the big ones was roadblocks too. Roadblocks was one that they've had a lot of problems with child predators and stuff like that on there, being an open source, and they can kind of create their own games and stuff. Yeah. And kids are falling into us because you have these people online that are searching for them.
Yeah.
And
that was the one that Haley was using. So,
mm-hmm.
Was it Roblox?
It was,
Roblox.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of things in news and other podcasts talking about roadblocks and the things with children and whatnot and being safe.
Yeah, it just scares me as, mom and now a grandmother. Our kids just have access and people have access to them. So we need to just make sure that we're able to parent in this new technological age and make sure that our kids are safe.
Yeah,
nice.
No, I agree with that.
Thank you.
So for people that haven't followed the news like I have all the time.
Here we go.
Tell me.
Just get the plug. Just get the plug. The Saturday Post.
Right. Anyway, tell me a little bit about some of the stuff that you've sponsored or pushed yourself that you're most proud of in the last few years.
Well, I'm very proud to be able to make sure that we are pushing a conservative agenda that allows us to protect Ohio and protect the way that Ohio it is. And when I say that, it's like Ohio needs to protect our way of life, right? And so when I came into office, I developed 10 commitments of areas that I want to focus on to make sure that we are protecting our way of life. And I actually sit on the Housing Committee. I'm the chair. I sit on the Workforce Development Committee as the co-chair, Judiciary Committee as the co-chair, and also I'm on Agricultural Committee and Small Business and Workforce Development. And it's very, very important to me to make sure that we have good policy, conservative leadership, protecting our values. But some of the things that I'm very, very proud of working on is religious freedoms. Last General Assembly, when I first came into office, I was the sponsor of the Red Bill, which stands for Religious Expression Days. And that was allowing our, our families to be able to recognize religious expression and be able to have time. If they wanted to observe their faith, they could actually be off from school for up to 3 days, but have excused absences. And what was happening is, for some of our students that may be of Catholic faith or whatever their faith is, they would take time off, but they wouldn't be excused absences. And so they would pretty much be penalized for practicing their faith. So that is something that I am very, very proud that is now signed into law. Also, with the they call it the LifeWise bill, but we actually were able to get the law change from may to shall, that public schools shall have an opportunity to have religious release time instruction. That was my bill. And now it is signed into law that if you go to a public school and you're a parent and you want your child to be able to be excused for religious time instruction, it was already on the books, but because it was optional, schools weren't necessarily observing it. That was my bill, is now signed into law. Happy that I was able to get that done. But also, I'm very, very proud about being named 2-time Legislator of the Year. Just recently, I was named that by the Ohio Chamber of Commerce because I had a child care credit bill that is now signed into law that helps working families because child care is just so unaffordable. So we were able to make it elective for employers that wanted to give some sort of benefit for their employees to be able to contribute up to 40% of child care costs for working families. Then the family contribute 40%, and then the state pick up 20% to make child care more affordable for working families. That is now signed into into law as well. I've done a whole host of things under those 10 commitments, but those are some of my proudest pieces of
And
legislation.
of course, the Haley's Law, is a really big one too.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it sounds like you're just getting started.
I'm just getting started. There's so much more work to do.
Yeah, talk to me about that. I mean, you're on re-election. This is your first re-election.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've been out there knocking doors already during the primary.
I have.
So tell me a little bit of what it looks like in the future for you.
Well, so, right now, this is going to be a very consequential election. I just believe that. You can just look at last week's primary. In the primary, we had, it's partisan. So we had about double amount of Democrats coming out than we had Republicans. And so it's going to be very incumbent upon conservatives to get out the vote and to make sure that they are voting in the general election if we are going to protect Ohio's way of life. Otherwise, it's going to look very different. So for me, what that looks like is right now, everybody's talking about affordability, and we are working on some very, very big issues at the State House that it's just unfinished business. Property taxes is one of the number one issues that we're working on, and we're trying to make sure that people who own homes are not taxed out of their homes. It's not fair to them that they've worked 10, 20, 30 years. They've paid their mortgage. They may have even paid it off, but now property taxes are just so high, it's like paying a second mortgage. We're trying to tackle that, and we have tackled that in terms of making sure that there's property tax relief without, upsetting the, baby with the bathwater. We want to make sure that we are being responsible in making those decisions. That's number one. Number two is data centers are, top of mind, top issue, especially here in Pickaway County. So we want to make sure that the locals are being heard. That is my biggest thing, is to make sure that there is a voice and representation, to make sure before there are a lot of decisions made about where data centers go, what is the impact, what type of incentives they receive, if any, from the state, that our local community and our local municipalities are voicing their concerns. And so right now, today, actually, there was a press conference with the Ohio General Assembly, and we have formed an Ohio Data Center Joint Committee with the House and the Senate to actually fact find and listen to all of the concerns, bring the people who are trying to bring these in our communities, the developers, to the table, ask tough questions, but also hear from local residents about what are the concerns so that we can get out all of the facts. Right. There's a lot of misinformation, and pretty much what I want to do is make sure that my constituents know that they have a voice and that their voice is being heard.
So I do have a question, since you brought up the property tax and stuff. So I have a question: if the Senate has ever looked into what it would look like if tax on food, which is non-taxable right now, anything that's to go is non-taxable. If that was put across the board as taxable, what would be the money generated, and could that offset some property taxes?
So let me tell you this, Richie. In the event that property taxes are eliminated, you're going to see tax on pretty much everything, because we're going to have to do that in order to fund things like local services, schools, and the like.
Right.
Right now, food isn't necessarily taxable. I mean, there's some items that probably are. You're in that space, so
right.
you understand.
If you're dining in, it's taxable. If it has
right.
sugar in it, it's taxable, and
right.
and things like that. But
right.
majority, like businesses like Kroger, all their food that they're sold is non-taxable. Same thing with Walmart and Kroger and whatnot. So there's a giant revenue there if you possibly put the 7.25, which is for Pickaway County, across the board on food. What would that look like helping out the property tax situation?
Well, I'll be honest with you. We've worked really hard at trying to eliminate taxes, or at least decrease taxes. That is kind of our standpoint as conservatives, is to try to make sure that our Ohio taxpayers aren't overtaxed. They're not tax burdened. We don't want big government. We want to make sure that people are able to take home more of their paycheck. But that being said, you still have to balance that with making sure that we provide local services, police and fire, schools are funded, especially our public schools, because our parents and our kids, they need to make sure that we are educating our kids, right? And that's how part of that property tax pays for that. So, but we don't necessarily want to eliminate taxes or property taxes. If we do eliminate property taxes, we would have to tax things like food. We would have to find the money by taxing even our sales tax that we actually decreased. Sales tax, but also income tax that we actually flattened to now one tax bracket would go all the way up. So more to come on that, but I am proud to announce that we've already created a budget that actually decreases property taxes by like $1.4 billion in property tax relief. So the taxpayers are going to see some relief coming in their next property tax bills.
And that would be all property tax owners, not just seniors and stuff like that. But
It'll be all. Now there are some tax proposals that were brought forth that seniors will see more of a homestead, which is great. And those are kind of like your special taxes, but there is still property tax relief for our property tax homeowners. Some will see it earlier than others. Some may see it in the first half, some in the second half. But those are things that we need to do to make sure that we bring relief to the state of Ohio taxpayers.
Nice.
I love that we're shaking this up. I do. I love that we're shaking this up and talking about it. You know, when you talk about seniors and homestead, and one thing that we always have hated is you know, the thought of maybe, you know, somebody aging out of their home because they're taxed.
That's right.
I mean,
That's just not. It's not right.
Right.
It's not right.
We worked hard,
and I appreciate you guys thinking about that. I do.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about like your platform. Where could people find a little bit more information about you and stuff?
So there's a lot of information out there. Like I said, I'm running for re-election, but this is not my first rodeo. I was a township trustee prior to serving in the Ohio Senate. And prior to that, I also worked in the governor's office as the director of faith-based and community initiatives. I do have a website, MicheleReynolds.org. Michelle is spelled with one L. I like to say I'm no hell Michelle, so I'm one L, MicheleReynolds.org. You can find more information about me and my platform. But quite frankly, I'm the results matter candidate. I'm someone who is known for getting things done. Reynolds gets results. That's my platform. I'm known for being a top producer. Somebody comes and calls me, they're going to see results because I take it on and I make sure that I see it all the way to the finish line. So, but there's a lot of information about the bills that I've sponsored, co-sponsored, got done, the 10 commitments, lots of testimonials, people who've endorsed me. But there's a lot of information out there. And I would certainly love to invite people to visit my website, call my office, let's get connected. I'm going to be doing a whole host of events, not just fundraisers, meet and greets here in this community. I would love to meet the voters, love to meet my constituents and get to know you and serve you.
And you never know if you're going to be walking around town, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I have a big RV that you know about. So I like to perfect what I call the Reynolds wrap. So my son, part of his business, because we're business owners, my son wraps vehicles. So if you see my RV running around town, it's something that that we use to promote the campaign. But my son did that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have another question.
Yes.
So aside from being a business owner, I'm also an actor and a producer. So tell me, what is your thoughts on the Ohio film tax credit and any chance of increasing the film tax credit?
So we support the Ohio Film Tax Credit. That is something actually that I did. I voted for that. And I'd love to see that increase. Absolutely. First of all, I'm a big fan of our films and very avid moviegoer and also theater, something that I really, really love. My family actually does a lot of in the performing arts space, and I remember taking my kids to see Broadway shows and things like that. I actually have a cousin who was in Stomp. On Broadway. But that is something that I support, that our legislature has supported, and I'd love to see the expansion.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's all I got for you. Thank you very much for taking your time and stopping.
That's the only questions you have?
That's what I got for.
Really?
Yep.
What do you have for me?
He seems very unprepared. Usually you got a bunch of questions.
You guys are fun.
Isn't this fun?
This is so much fun.
It is fun.
I love it. Well, thank you for the platform. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself and share. And I look forward to, maybe coming back on. And
No, I mean, this is going to be
I
open
love
during
that.
Pumpkin Show. It's going to
Yay,
be all that
awesome.
stuff. So
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to seeing you.
I'm looking forward to the next time.
Yes.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you
for
very
coming.
much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Welcome back to the second half of Week in Review with Richie End.
Jeremy.
We want to thank Michele Reynolds for coming in. It was awesome to have her here.
Yeah, I think Michele Reynolds is one of those ones that really engages with people. I think that's really cool of her.
Yes.
So,
What else you got going on this week, Jeremy?
yeah, I got,
Because we didn't want to have our rant of nonsense and reviews.
Yeah,
of the
we
week
didn't want to.
While
We didn't
the,
want
while
her
the
to.
senator was here, we wanted to,
You didn't want to drive her crazy.
no.
That's so funny.
Also, don't want to take up too much of her time.
No, I think so. I mean, she just graduated law school. She put in some serious stuff in the.
And she was just coming from a fundraiser.
She was just coming. Yeah.
Yes. So
She's probably burnt.
yes. But thank you again for coming, Michele Reynolds. We appreciate it.
I do appreciate it. Anyway, when I got something to talk about, Circleville. What's so important about Circleville, right? Pumpkins, right? And you got Snoopy on your shirt, so
Jeremy, it is freaking May. Do not start with the pumpkins now.
let's talk about Pumpkin Show.
Oh my Lanta.
All right. So this is a really cool thing. And and like I said, you wearing the right shirt tonight. The Charlie Brown and Snoopy.
What, they're coming to Pickaway County?
No, let me explain.
Good grief.
So a really well-known pumpkin grower, his name's Dr. Liggett. Okay. They do this competition. It's called the Charlie Brown and Snoopy competition. And it's to support aspiring pumpkin growers. So basically, all these local pumpkin growers, they grow their own. When they're done with the pumpkin, they harvest the pumpkin, and they take these seeds, and every year they actually start several. They start several giant pumpkins, right? And I'm
gonna get you finger puppets
So
when you
listen,
do this. It's
they have
entertaining.
sprouts. Okay, they have baby pumpkin sprouts, and what they do is they give away these pumpkin sprouts.
So what you're saying is that they take their seeds after the pumpkins as they grow, these large pumpkins, and then they make little babies out of them, and then they sell them or give them away
They give them away.
to inspiring pumpkin growers.
That's correct.
Well, that's pretty sweet.
Isn't that sweet? And
Has any of these inspiring growers beat Dr. Liggett's in his competition?
he's a
for Pumpkin
state
Show?
winner, buddy. He's number one. Anyway,
Stop anyway, Amy.
Anyway,
Here he goes again. Let's have the anyway counter right here, please.
right.
Go ahead.
On May 16th at 1 p.m. outside of the grocery store, the Rogues Market on 56 East, they'll be giving away some of those babies to inspiring pumpkin growers.
You gonna go get me one to
You-
put
do you
so I
want-
can put it in the deli with the rest of my plants that I'm
Oh,
growing?
I double dog dare you.
I will grow a pumpkin in the deli.
Do you realize that they take up more room than like your whole Richie's New York Corner Deli?
Less seating.
Less seating. Wow.
Sit on a pumpkin. It's our
'cause-
kids' seating section.
Because these pumpkin growers already have seeds in the ground. They're already
Are you
growing.
going to bring me a baby seedling?
No, because you're going to kill it.
I will-
That's not acceptable.
I do not kill plants.
And this is for inspiring kids, not for Richie to experiment
But I'm a
with.
kid at heart.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm a big kid now.
So
A lot
yeah,
of copyright infringements going on right there.
So come out on May 16th and go down to Rogues and pick up
Roads.
Roads. How do you say it?
Roads.
Roads.
Roads Family
Sorry,
Market.
Roads. Sorry. And pick up a little plant and grow yourself a giant pumpkin.
Or pick me one up, please.
Because during the pumpkin show, they have the first row of pumpkin growers. Sometimes those are just 100-pound pumpkins, just the little guys and stuff, and they all come from those giant pumpkin seeds. So, you have a kid. Sometimes there's kids that are 6, 7, 8 years old that are growing these
6,
giant pumpkins.
7.
Did you just say 6, 7? Oh my gosh. In other news, there was a big crash this week.
Oh.
Yep. They had the 5 Points just outside of town here.
Okay.
They had one of those trucks that carries the trucks. You ever seen those? They like
A truck that
piggyback.
carries a truck that carries a truck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have the truck, and then they have the other truck and the other truck. You ever seen those?
When they're transporting trucks.
They're transporting trucks.
Right.
Say that. Say it 3 times
Transporting
fast.
trucks, or the fact that there was a truck with another truck on top of another truck.
Yeah.
That they were pulling with the truck.
So they were driving along 56 there, and somebody pulled up in front of him and crashed into him. So it became a 4-car accident, right?
Only because he had 3 on him.
That's correct.
He brought the other one. Did anybody get hurt?
Nobody got seriously
That's
hurt.
good. That's good.
So nobody got seriously hurt, but brand new trucks, Kenworth trucks and stuff, had quite a bit of damage and stuff. So
What else went on this past week? This is the week in review.
this is the weekend review. So let's see here. Ohio Senate passed the Senate Bill 202. Completely.
Oh, he brings up a
33 to
Senate bill
0.
now that the senator left.
Yeah, I
interesting.
did. But this one's pretty cut and dry because it was unanimous.
Really?
Yeah, it was unanimous.
How often does that happen?
Not very much. So
What was the bill for?
This one surrounded the thin blue line flag.
Okay.
So the story is this this grieving father had a thin blue line flag in front of his house, and homeowners association kind of came down on him after he had it flying for a little bit. It was for a family member, it was a in memory basically. He was flying it like you would American flag outside your house.
Okay.
And homeowners association came down on him and told him he couldn't have the flag. So that's really kind of how it started, and it rolled into hey, that now the thin blue flag has the same protections as like the Ohio flag and stuff like that. So what do you think about that?
So he can hang it in front of his house and homeowners associations can't tell him no.
No, you can hang it.
Homeowners associations, I'm not part of one, but
I'm part of one.
I hear sometimes that they can get a little much.
A little dicey.
A little much. Mm-hmm. It's a little much. Your grass is, according to the bylaws, only supposed to be 2 inches tall. Yours is 2 1/4. You need to get out there with some scissors and cut it.
Yeah, we have one. We have one where we just got our HOA just got put in place because, according to our deed, the builder had to finish all the homes before the HOA come into. So, because my development was slow.
So you've had no HOA all this time?
For like 15 years.
Wow. And now you're gonna have all these rules.
And then when they sold all the rest of the land off, it kicked that HOA into place. So now all these people who have been living basically HOA free, all of a sudden are under an HOA.
So now, so have you been paying into the HOA this whole time or not?
No, not
So now you're gonna have a
until
fee.
it was established. Now I've been paying into the HOA for a couple of years.
And then now now there's a whole new set of rules.
Well, it's the same rules. The rules were laid out in the contract, but the problem is there's a lot of people that didn't really necessarily even know they were going to have an HOA because they bought this house and nobody really knew of an HOA. They didn't read their contract.
Oh, that's not that bright.
Anyway,
you got to read the fine print, people.
Anyway,
you gotta
there's a
read
lot
the
of people that have.
Hey, I'm talking over here.
Oh, sorry.
You got to read the fine print, people. Got to read the fine print. I know it takes time. I know you don't want to, but you have to read the fine print. Mm-hmm. Now back to Jeremy.
So the HOA. We're looking at some of the penalties and the violations and stuff, and there's a lot of them. I mean, there's like a majority of the houses have violations. So we're now looking at what are we going to do about this HOA, and we have an HOA group, and they're not trying to come down because our HOA is part of our members, of the people that live there. So now we're just trying to figure out how to change the HOA and the rules and stuff, because we have people literally living there 15, 20 years that are in violation because their fence is 6 foot high when it's supposed to only be 4 foot high. I mean, what am I going to do is just take a chainsaw, right?
Whew. That's I wouldn't want to be involved in any of that.
Yeah.
I'll leave my I'm just not going to touch that one, except read the fine print.
Right. So, in Asheville, the Asheville Police Chief Brian Klein and Captain Casey got back to duty this week. So they've been
why would they
off
not?
because of that shooting where they had the officer involved shooting that happened in January.
The one with the kid?
The one that was involved in the trailer, and
Okay,
the guy
right.
pulled his gun.
Yes.
So they found out that they were good to go. It was a
Good shoot.
I wouldn't say good. It's
Well,
never good.
I mean, that's
an awful thing to say.
But that's the
Richie.
terminology.
Wait a minute here. The terminology needs to share.
That is the
There's never a good
terminology that the
shooting.
police departments use for the police officer. It was a good shoot. It was a good shot. It was a good because
was a
he
good
didn't do
shot.
nothing wrong. So the
They didn't-
police officer was found
They
to
worked
be a
within
good
the
shoot.
parameters of their job.
Right. Doesn't
And
mean
they
the
saved-
terminology is correct or means good, but it means
And most
that he didn't do
likely
anything wrong.
in this situation, they most likely saved lives.
Right.
That's the if you want to say good of this, but they're back to duty. It's taken a long time. So that police force is going to be moving and shaking a little bit more. So
Moving and shaking.
that's some good news,
What, they're going to be moving and shaking?
right?
Maybe they should drink less caffeine. They won't be shaking.
Right? I don't know.
What else? What else we got? Anything?
That's what I got.
That's all you got?
That's all I got. Well, I had to push a lot of my information down because I had a really important senator that came on here.
You did bring on an important guest. You did bring on an important guest this week.
No, and I think it was really cool. So,
And I want to give a shout out to Mike Hartley, who also helped make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it.
yeah, I really appreciate anytime a candidate comes into town, I'd love to talk to him because getting somebody on in front of a mic, in front of a camera, and just talking to them, I think is so important. Just asking them questions about why they do what they do. You can hear in the senator's voice itself, how passionate she was about some of the bills that she's passed.
Yes.
And to me personally, I think that's more important than just drilling her with questions.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I thought that was really great.
Yes. It was great. It was.
So,
It was nice having her.
yeah, that's it.
That's all. Well, thank you for tuning in to episode 14 of the Week in Review with Richie and Jeremy. We will see you next week. Don't forget, you can also watch us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube, and Roundtown Radio.
With DJ.
Flounder!
That's it. Flounder. Love him.
Tune in to any of those platforms. Listen to us while you're driving to work. Check us out. Week in Review with Richie and Jeremy, filmed here at Big Apple Studios.
Oh, wait.
What? We're back!
We only mentioned Colin once. It's
Now you
twice.
just mentioned him twice.
That's all I needed. See ya.
Jeez.